Now let us explore important Zookeeper commands. Zookeeper have bunch of commands to get the information about the services managed by Zookeeper as well as Zookeeper itself. Before running these commands, especially zkcli.sh, make sure to create soft link for Java executable so that zkcli.sh can run. The way you can actually create soft link is by using ln-s, and typically when you actually set up a cluster using Cloudera on the server where Cloudera manager is installed, JDK is available under this location, user Java, and then JDK 1.7 blah 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 slash bin slash Java, and then you can actually create soft link to user local bin, and then you should be able to run this command called java -version, and you should see this output. If you don't see this output, if you try to run zkcli.sh, it will not work. So make sure soft link is created, or you can also update the path by saying export path equal to $path colon copy paste up to this bin. Okay, to ensure that path is updated whenever you relog into this machine, you can actually open .bash profile that is part of your home directory, and you can add that additional path also with respect to JDK in here. You can append to this after colon. You can put this put that value, and you should be good to go. However, I created soft link already. That's why java -version is running. Now we'll actually see the zkcli.sh and get into the details with respect to some of the important commands. In some cases, zkcli.sh is also available as zookeeper-shell.sh. It is primarily in those environments where we set up Kafka, and Kafka also comes with Zookeeper. Instead of plugging in Kafka to existing cluster, if we use Zookeeper that comes part of Kafka, then you have to use this zookeeper-shell.sh. You will not be able to see zkcli.sh. But in all other environments, typically with Hortonworks or Cloudera distributions, whatever Zookeeper comes with will have this zkcli.sh. You just have to figure out where this is, and you should be able to use it. So in our case, zkcli.sh is available under user lib zookeeper bin zkcli.sh. And using -server, you can actually pass the Zookeeper ensemble details. To get those details as demonstrated earlier, you can go to Cloudera Manager, click on Zookeeper. These are the public DNSs or DNS aliases pointing to our private IPs which can be used. And then the port number is nothing but 2181. You can go to configuration and search for client port, and you can get the details. So 2181 is the port. So using these details such as big data server -2 2181, big data server -3 2181, big data server -4 2181, you should be able to launch the zkcli. To get help, to list all the commands, you can say help and hit enter. You can see these are the commands that are available. You can connect to a different cluster once you get into the zkcli sh using connect. You can list the z nodes, which are nothing but namespaces for the services managed by Zookeeper by using ls. You can set path. I'm not sure about this. I haven't used it yet. You can remove the path. You have to be a bit careful while using this rmr command. You can set ACLs in some of the clusters to control access to the regular users. You can use set ACL and get ACL to control access, so on and so forth. You can also use delete to delete a path similar to RMR, but you have to be careful when you are using RMR or delete. You can set quotas also for each of the services that are managed by Zookeeper. So to get the details with respect to the namespace of a Zookeeper service, you just start with ls /, and as of now there is only one Zookeeper. We'll come back to this at a later point in time as we add more services. You can actually say ls / Zookeeper, which is nothing but namespace, to see subcomponents of this. If you want to get the information with respect to this namespace, you can actually say get Zookeeper, and it will give some information with respect to the Zookeeper service. This is how you can actually start getting into the details with respect to the Zookeeper service. You can get the history of commands by saying history. You can also create a path and use as part of your applications using create command, so on and so forth. There are a few other commands which you should be explore and aware of as you start supporting clusters with Zookeeper. That being said, you can come out of this now. Zookeeper also have something called 4-letter commands to get details with respect to the service itself. Here, using zkcli.sh, you can get the details about other services managed by Zookeeper. But to troubleshoot certain issues, you should be aware of how to get the details with respect to Zookeeper service itself. For that, there is something called 4-letter word commands. Okay, and you can actually click on this link to get the details of those commands that are available. You can see there is a command called conf which will actually print the details about serving configuration of your Zookeeper service. Conf will actually list full connection or session details. CRST will reset to the connection or session statistics for all connections. Dump is supposed to be run only on leader, and it will actually talk about outstanding sessions and ephemeral nodes. NV print details about serving environment, so on and so forth. So there are few other commands which you should be aware of as you start supporting Zookeeper. We will use some of the commands and we'll try to extract some of the details with respect to the Zookeeper service. So the way you have to run these commands is you have to say echo, and you have to pass the string such as conf, and you have to pipe it to nc or telnet, something like this. Nc, you can pick any of the server on which Zookeeper is running. In this case, I am picking big data server -2 and then the port number 2181 and hit enter. You can see the configuration related to this server. Okay, you can also run command called stat, which will give details about the Zookeeper component running on this server. Echo stat. One of the important information which it gives as part of stat is the mode, which will tell us whether it is a follower or a leader. As of now, this big data server 2 is follower. Let us run this on the other hosts also. Big data server 3 is also follower, and big data server 4 is actually a leader. So you can get the details with respect to each of the server on which Zookeeper is running by using stat. It also show you how many requests it have received and how much it have sent, etc. So it will actually give the some of the statistics with respect to this server on the cluster. That being said, you can only run dump on the leader. So if you want to run dump command, you can go to the Zookeeper service on Cloudera manager using this web interface. Go to status, and it will tell who is the leader. So big data server 4 is the leader, and also you can run stat command to get the leader details, and then you can say echo dump pipe nc big data server -4 2181. There is a typo in my DNS alias. It is big data server, and you can see some of the details with respect to dump. Okay, like this, there are plenty of other commands which you should be aware of and run to support your Zookeeper. That being said, you need to pick up these commands as you start supporting the cluster. For now, whatever information is passed is enough. We will also run envi command and see what it actually gives us. So envi will give environment details with respect to each of these servers on which Zookeeper is running. Okay. So that being said, from here we'll be adding more and more services to our cluster. We'll come back to zkcli.sh and we will see what are the changes that are happening whenever a new service is added, whether Is there anything associated with Zookeeper with respect to the service that is being added? If it is, we will actually see internally what is going on so that we understand the intrinsic details of how Zookeeper and other services work together as we proceed further. As we are done with setting up of Zookeeper on our cluster and also we understood some of the important commands, let us make sure that you have Zookeeper successfully set up and also you are able to run zkcli.sh command before we proceed further. Also, if you are planning to take a break before going to next section and set up additional services, make sure to stop services using Cloudera Manager. Go to the Cloudera Manager, stop Cloudera Management Service as well as Zookeeper. Those are the only services we have. As we add more services, we can actually use this drop down and stop all the services in one shot instead of stopping the services one at a time. Once both Zookeeper as well as Cloudera Management Service are stopped at this time, let us refresh and make sure that everything is stopped. If you do not stop these things and if you stop the servers directly, there is a chance that you might run into some issues with respect to some of the services. Okay, as we have successfully stopped the services using Cloudera Manager, now I can go to the Google Cloud Console, select all these servers, and I can click on this button to stop. Now, as the services as well as servers are down, we will not be charged until we actually start these servers again to set up additional services. However, there are fixed costs associated with these servers, which is nothing but storage. You might get nominally charged for the storage. You can also check the billing by going into this page. As of now, we started with approximately $300 credit, and we saturated almost I think $20, probably $20-$25, not more than that. Okay, so that being said, make sure you stop the services until you come back again and start working on additional services on the cluster. And now we can actually wrap up setting up of Zookeeper on the cluster.